Hey, this is John with Two Moose Home Inspections, and welcome to the Inspector's Toolbelt series. Today's video will center around electricity. As a home inspector, I inspect electrical receptacles, switches, and a whole bunch of other electrical components. But there are two tools that I use every single time I do a home inspection. The first one is very basic, and this tool right here will allow me to know if it's wired correctly, that being the receptacle. It'll say if the hot and neutral are reversed, it'll say if there's an open ground, and basically what this means is this little device, maybe you could buy it for yourself for $20, $25, this little device is able to tell me whether or not it's safe to plug something into an outlet. Because sometimes if I have an appliance and hot and neutral are reversed, that means that I could have that metal appliance, let's say like a washing machine, and I could have that washing machine become electrically charged where if I touch it, I can get shocked with 120 volts and 15 amps, which would be terrible. It would actually be deadly. So that's not a good thing. Additionally, this one allows me to test the GFCI. Now the GFCI is a ground fault circuit interrupter. So what does that mean? So what that means is I am gonna give you electricity. And here's how the game works. I give you electricity, you give me electricity back. If you at any point don't give me back the fair share of electricity, meaning exactly what I gave you, then you're cut off. I'm done. I'm not gonna give you any more electricity. So that's exactly what a GFCI does. If I'm giving you electricity and you start becoming electrocuted, well, since you're being electrocuted, you can't really give me any electricity back, so I just need to stop it right then and there. And as a home inspector, you kind of know if it's working by pressing the button because it'll click or the power will go away. But sometimes it seems like it goes a little long. And how do you know if it's 200 milliseconds? Well, that's where the next tool comes into play. So this tool right here is very, very nice and very handy. What I do is I plug this into an outlet, the screen becomes powered, and it tells me a bunch of things. It can tell me how good the wiring is. So like, is the wiring able to handle the amount of voltage that's going over it? Meaning, can the wiring handle how much electricity I'm sending through, or does that electricity drop down below a point that is acceptable? And so the other thing this does is with the GFCI function, what that will do is it will actually reset that GFCI breaker, and that GFCI breaker, it'll then record how long it took for the power to cut out. And what's really cool about that is I can see exactly and put it into an inspection report that it took 314 milliseconds for that GFCI to trip, which is past the 200 milliseconds that it should be. Therefore, that GFCI is not safe. It needs to be replaced. Now, that's going to show up in a report as red, and I don't need everybody running and freaking out and panicking. Red is serious, but let's be serious about how serious it is. If that GFCI fails, you could be electrocuted and you could die. Therefore, it's red. But a GFCI replacement will cost you like maybe $10 if you know how to do it yourself, or you can hire an electrician to do it. So just because it's red doesn't mean it's going to be a deal breaker for your house, but it's red because it could be dangerous. So the other thing about this is that this tests GFCIs. And so one thing it doesn't test is AFCIs. Now, most modern houses have an AFCI, and an AFCI is an arc fault circuit interrupter. So let's say I take a nail and I put it right into the wall because I want to hang this picture frame just like this. Well, that picture frame and that nail that just went in is going to create an arc, which is whenever electricity jumps through the air. Now that arc can cause a fire. And so it's different than a GFCI trip because it's not actually losing the electricity. The electricity is getting to where it needs to be. But something's a little funny, and the AFCI breakers are able to detect that. So what you can see is, do I have GFCI breakers? Do I have AFCI breakers? Or do I just have regular breakers? Now, some things shouldn't be on GFCI or AFCI, such as your refrigerator, but pretty much everything else should be. And so take a look in there and then hire an electrician to put in the right circuit breakers so that you are protected from arc faults, ground faults, and just normal faults that you would get that would be protected by a normal circuit breaker. I use these tools all the time, and if you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule a home inspection, please visit twomoosehomeinspections.com. Have a wonderful day.